Red teaming is structured creative attack, not random chaos. It reveals how your AI system fails under realistic pressure. This AiQualtest episode gives product, engineering, risk, and quality teams a practical, vendor-neutral playbook for AI red teaming basics in 2026. Use a simple operating loop: threat, attack, observe, and fix. That loop keeps conversations concrete when stakeholders disagree about quality or risk. Why this matters: production AI faces prompt abuse, data exfiltration attempts, and policy bypasses. Formal red teaming finds gaps that unit tests miss. Enterprises need scope charters, evidence capture, and remediation loops, not ad hoc chat tricks. Enterprises shipping AI into banking, insurance, healthcare, and digital operations cannot rely on hallway demos. Buyers, auditors, and internal second-line risk partners ask for repeatable methods, version artifacts, and clear ownership. If you cannot explain how you tested and what evidence you keep, you do not have AI quality, you have optimism. Core concepts come next. Do not memorize jargon, operationalize each idea into cases, metrics, and gates. Concept 1: Threat Model. List assets, actors, and misuse goals before writing attacks. Scope prevents endless unfocused probing. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 2: Attack libraries. Cover jailbreaks, injection, tool abuse, and social engineering patterns. Reuse and version successful probes. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 3: Success criteria. Define what counts as a hit: policy breach, data leak, or unsafe action. Ambiguous wins waste time. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 4: Evidence packs. Capture prompts, outputs, and system state. Remediation needs reproducible artifacts. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 5: Severity triage. Rank findings by exploitability and impact. Feed critical items into release blockers. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 6: Retest cadence. Rerun winning attacks after fixes and model upgrades. Attackers reuse what worked. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Here is a real-world pattern. Setting: hospital network piloting a clinical documentation assistant with PHI access controls. Red teamers tried tool call chains that coaxed the assistant into summarizing another patient's notes. The system leaked metadata in one path despite UI restrictions. Security patched tool authorization and added negative tests for cross-patient queries. The finding was logged as a high-severity incident precursor with compensating controls until retest passed. Notice the pattern: define scope, run controlled tests, capture evidence, decide with named owners, and feed failures back into the next cycle. That is how AI quality becomes a system property, not a slide. Common mistakes slow mature programs. Mistake 1: running red teaming only as a marketing demo before launch. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 2: skipping written threat models and success criteria. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 3: failing to archive reproducible attack transcripts. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 4: closing findings without retesting after model changes. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. The antidote is discipline: small goal sets, explicit thresholds, change control, and monitoring that connects production incidents back to evaluation suites. Key takeaways for your team. Takeaway 1: start from a threat model, then build attack packs. Takeaway 2: define hits clearly and capture evidence. Takeaway 3, triage by impact into release gates. Takeaway 4, retest after every material system change. Write these into your team wiki and release checklist so they survive staffing changes. Your next steps this week: write a one-page threat model for your highest-risk AI surface. Then, create a 20-case starter attack pack and schedule a quarterly retest. Keep the artifacts, prompts, datasets, scores, approvals so you can defend the decision later. Where this fits the AiQualtest method, learn the foundations with AiVELabs, practice with hands-on cases, and validate with governed evaluation evidence. Visit aiqualtest.com and learn.aiqualtest.com. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for weekly AI quality, evaluation, and governance episodes. Additional depth for practitioners: treat AI red teaming basics as a controlled experiment. Version the inputs, freeze the environment where possible, record who approved exceptions, and rerun after every material change, model upgrade, prompt edit, retrieval index refresh, or tool permission change. Pair quality metrics with latency, cost, and safety signals so trade-offs are visible to product owners. When results regress, open an incident-style review even if the feature still looks fine in a demo. Governed teams prefer boring, evidence-backed releases over surprising wins that cannot be reproduced.